Let's look at something different. Rassie Erasmus and SA Rugby, they've requested World Rugby to consider a public hearing. Why?
Oh, without a doubt, you've got to have a public hearing. I think this is a matter of huge public interest, and I think there's a greater feeling within the South African rugby fraternity, and people involved that World Rugby might not be fair. I'm not casting any aspersions on Nigel Hampton, who will be Nigel Hampton and Judge Mike Mika, along with the chairperson of that hearing, who will be Christopher Quinlan. However, over the past years, I think South African Rugby has had to learn that a hard way, in that I don't think too many people within World Rugby sort of like South Africa, and we saw what happened with the rights of hosting the Rugby World Cup in 2023. A lot was said about that and how that system went. So I think it's got to come out in the public. We've heard too many people within the rugby fraternity globally, hit hard at Rassie Erasmus for that leaked video, which was not even leaked by Rassie Erasmus. So it's got to be out there. I think the public has got to be sitting in and watching on these hearings, because I think that's the only way World Rugby can achieve transparency, and that the aggrieved parties, which is SARU and Rassie Erasmus, will feel as if there's any semblance of fairness when it comes to this hearing.
You mentioned that the world doesn't like us. We're the world champions. But also, we've never really been liked, especially by New Zealand. And two of the people who will be, hearing this case are from New Zealand, our arch rivals. So is the case for Rassie, whether or not it's public, is it looking good?
I think it is looking good, Mura. And I think the initial thing was about the leaking of the video. And that was a video Rassie had sent to World Rugby. Just citing a few of the problems that he was concerned about during the Lions tour. That was leaked, and not by him. So if you're charging him for the leaking of the video, then you're pointing fingers at the wrong person. I think when you interrogate what's in the video itself, I think a lot of prominent people around the world have come out to say that there is a problem with officiating in World Rugby. But more than anything, World Rugby is going to face up to these allegations or these sentiments that are expressed by Rassie Erasmus in his video, because again that leads to the game becoming more transparent. I think the game of rugby has been static administratively and officiating on the field, and it's been archaic, and it stopped the game from progressing as quickly as it should have, and attracting even more people from around the world to actually, for it to become proper global sport. So I think through something like this, and forcing there to be transparency, and forcing there, or for justice to seem to be done, is going to help in growing the game itself, and making people believe, that World Rugby actually functions, and functions for all and not for some.
And just before I let you go, Vata, we're now speculating at this point. Yeah. Should the case go in Rassie's favour, does that then not put a spotlight on rugby officiating around the world, and that something actually needs to be done, and needs to be done quickly?
It should have been. The rugby officiating the spotlight should have been a long time ago, Moran. One goes back to 2011 when the Springboks played Australia in that World Cup quarterfinal. Everything is suggested the Springboks had done everything in their powers to win the game, and done enough to win that game. And the guy who was officiating, Bryce Lawrence, a New Zealander, knew had the Springboks won, they would have gone to the World Cup semi-final to face the All Blacks, who they have had an upper hand, throughout Peter de Villiers' tenure. And yes, it was a huge outcry from South Africans, objective or subjective. I don't think it really matters. However, Bryce Lawrence went on to retire after the World Cup and was awarded a referee of the year, by a New Zealander. So I think a lot of spotlight has to be shone on officiating, because, Morena, we cannot go on like this. Rugby cannot go on like this. It is such decisions that happen on the field that prevent the game from growing. It prevents the game, from becoming a truly global sport and taking its place on the global stage. So I think, World Rugby has got to sit down and say to themselves, guys, we can't be what Will Colling actually called them, old somethings. We've got to move with the times. We've got to move with the times.
I just want to squeeze out one question so rather squeeze in one question. We're playing that all-important World Cup qualifier tomorrow is Bafana Bafana. Yeah. We are in the pound seat, albeit by a point ahead of Ghana, but we are in control of our own destiny. Yeah. I think the last time I saw Bafana Bafana in this particular position was for the AFCON under Shakes Mashaba, where we ran through our group that had Nigeria in it. We've dealt with Ghana here at home. We still have to deal with them away, but that's the last game. So we've got Ethiopia tomorrow and then Zimbabwe at home for us to essentially book our ticket to Qatar. Tomorrow's game, how important is it to essentially repeat what we did against Ethiopia at the weekend, if not maybe do better?
Without a doubt, this is probably one of the most important games for Hugo Bross's men. They've got to win. They have to win against Ethiopia. And that sets them up wonderfully when they go to Ghana, to play Ghana there. And if they can win these two games, I think the game against Zimbabwe, will be a dead rubber. And what's big, Morena, what's important about this is that if Bafana Bafana qualify, it will be the first time in 20 years that they qualify for a FIFA World Cup. And that will be massive, massive for this country. I think our football needs that boost. And I'm so glad a guy like Hugo Bross has come in. He's not embroiled in the politics of South African football. He says he calls a spade, and has said that South African football, for a very, very long time, seemingly, has become its own worst enemy. Our local clubs are sabotaging Bafana Bafana. Yeah. And he's called it what he's called it. He's gotten rid of all the big-name players with all the egos, and we're seeing a bunch of no-names playing now. And I think those no-names are going to become the big names of the future.
We can only but hope. Vata, thank you very much. We're going to leave it there for now with you. And, of course, that is eNCA Sports Editor Vata Ngobeni.